Oi, let's start. Uh-huh. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to Jennifer's Perspective. And today, my very special guest is the one and only, the CPA of the year, Miss Shieke Sharpe, from a Shieke Sharpe Consultant Agency. And today we're here just to answer a few questions that just to help everyone to get the best of their tax season this year and just to answer a few questions with the pandemic and all that's going on. Shiki, introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Shieke Sharpe. I'm the owner of Shieke Sharpe Consulting. I'm a CPA and a CFE. I provide bookkeeping and tax services to small businesses and entrepreneurs. I have a master's degree in forensic accounting.
Okay, Shiki, let's just get straight to it. Let's see. During the tax season, many people will have questions, especially for small businesses and for those that are sole proprietors. Now, as if we're coming to you for to do our taxes this year, what information do you need from me as your client that I would have to have prepared to bring to you?
Okay, so as a sole proprietor, I would hope that you're keeping proper bookkeeping. So you're
Mm-hmm.
doing your bookkeeping monthly. And besides your personal information like social security card, date of birth, address, a copy of your driver's license, the other thing that I would want is a profit and loss statement. A lot of small businesses that are sole proprietorship, they don't tend to have that like formal profit and loss. But if it's
Mm-hmm.
even like an Excel sheet that lists what your income was for the year, and then a list of all the expenses that you incur in the business for the year.
Okay, and what are the rules for some common business deductions that I can make as a small business owner?
So the rule, what I always say to my small business owners or owners in general, if
Mm-hmm.
that deduction is necessary and ordinary, that is IRS rules. Your deduction should be necessary and ordinary for the type of business that you're doing. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of business owners may have different deductions based on the
Mm-hmm.
industry that they're in. So it
Mm-hmm.
really comes down to what is necessary for you and
Mm-hmm.
ordinary in your field.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then you can deduct that.
Now, do I qualify for the qualified business income deduction?
That's a broad question because when it comes to most small businesses will qualify. Let's say
Mm-hmm.
that most small businesses will qualify.
Mm-hmm.
There are rules surrounding your income level. So if you're making 163,300, then it's limited. There's a threshold as to when you can get that. It's a 20% deduction, but there's a
Mm-hmm.
limit as to your income. And only if you're a sole proprietorship, so pass through entities. These are sole proprietorship, LLC, partnership, S Corp. Then you can get the 20% deduction.
Okay, and what are some of the other changes from the TCJA should I know about?
Well, that TCJA was in 2017, so all the changes are already in place. So you would have encountered that in 2018 and 2019 when you file your tax returns.
Mm-hmm.
So there's nothing new to that act
Mm-hmm.
because again, it was in 2017.
Okay, and is there anything else that I can do to reduce my tax bill?
So there are a couple strategies that I use with some of my clients. One of them is set up our retirement plans. So a lot of small business owners, entrepreneurs, sole proprietors, they don't think or they don't even know that they can set up retirement plans for themselves. That is one of the biggest deduction because
Mm-hmm.
you say for example you set up a solo 401k in
Mm-hmm.
2020. I think the max that you can contribute was like 58,000, and
Mm-hmm.
you get that as a deduction. So that's like a big savings because one, you're putting contributing money to your retirement, and
Mm-hmm.
two, you get to deduct it on your taxes. So that's one of the biggest deduction that I always recommend people take on their business taxes.
Okay, and what changes should I think about making this upcoming year with all the changes that's been going on with the pandemic? Like, what changes should I think about making for 2021 going into the next year?
So I wouldn't say changes, but I want all my small business owners, please, 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 to keep proper bookkeeping, keep proper records. That's
Mm-hmm.
one. Um, you have probably heard about the PPP, right? So
Mm-hmm.
many people were running businesses, but they weren't filing their tax returns,
Mm-hmm.
or they were filing their tax returns and they try to take as many deductions as they can, and then they report a loss. Now,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to PPP, that is what they're using to see what you qualify for, like how much you qualify for if you qualify for the PPP. So you need to make sure you're filing your taxes because, again, for the PPP, they wanted 2019 tax returns. And so many people came to me and they're like, I didn't file my 2019 tax returns, or I had a loss on my 2019 tax return. And that's okay if it's normal, if it's legit, then yes, you can have a loss. But try to operate as a business. Operating as a business means you're going to keep proper records and you're going to file your taxes.
Mm-hmm. Now, what if you're still a new business and you weren't in business at the beginning of if you were a new business at the beginning of the pandemic, are you eligible for the PPE? For the
So the
PPP?
so the PPP, if you weren't in business before February 15th of 2020, you're not eligible. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to be in business before February 15th of 2020.
Mm-hmm. And is this still the right business structure for me? Like, this is a good question. What records should I keep? Like, what type of records?
So you want to make sure you keep all your invoices. So if you make payments,
Mm-hmm.
you want to keep your receipts. If you receive payments from someone and they sent you an invoice, you make the payment, you want to keep your invoices. If you have
Mm-hmm.
employees, you want to make sure you're keeping your employees' records, employment taxes, Form 941, your state forms. You want to make sure you're keeping all your contracts. Those are
Mm-hmm.
permanent records. There's no time frame as to, how long to keep those. Keep your bank statements, keep your financials, and your tax returns.
Now, how should I prepare for the tax season?
Okay, so this is a huge question. So many people have questions, but some of the things that I want to point out to like individuals, not necessarily small business owners. If you were on unemployment, make sure you get your 1099-G from your state. You want to
Mm-hmm.
make sure because unemployment is taxable. A lot of people did not know that, but it's taxable. So you want to make sure you get your 1099-G from your state. If you took out retirement money, a lot of people were in difficulty, and we understand that, and they had to take money from the retirement account. Make sure you obtain a 1099-R from your broker or whoever it is. Say it's Fidelity, Vanguard, Charles Schwab. Make sure you get your 1099-R. So that's 1099. These are some of the things that a lot of people are not like remembering to. Oh, and the other thing is if you did receive that notice for the stimulus check, you want to provide that to your tax preparer as well. It's not taxable, but I just want to reconcile if you had gotten it. That means you don't need to get it again. If you didn't get it, then you should get it. If you get a partial amount, you may get more. So you want to provide that as well. So get your stimulus amounts correct. Let your tax
Mm-hmm.
preparer know that your 1099-R and your 1099-G. Those are some things that came out of the COVID pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Besides that, you want to get your W-2s, your dependents information, the regular stuff for your tax returns.
Now, when should I pay estimated taxes? That is a
So,
question that most people, especially solopreneurs like myself, they don't know when they should pay that. When should I pay estimated taxes?
So estimated taxes are due every quarter, and as that's really a good question. As small business owners, entrepreneurs, when you were employee with a company, they take out your taxes each week or bi-weekly or however you get paid. They take out your taxes, and you don't have to be responsible for it. As a sole proprietorship, you're getting your money before you're making your tax payments. So
Mm-hmm.
the US is a pay as you earn tax system, so they don't want to wait until the end of the year to get their money. They want you to make your payments quarterly for small business owners. This is due, it's not the traditional quarters. So this is due April 15th, June 15th, September 15th, and January 15th of the following year. So it's not really the traditional 4 months per quarter. The first quarter is 3 months. The second quarter is 2 months. The third quarter is 3 months, and if my math is right, and the fourth quarter is 4 months. So that's how they do it. So it's due. You want to make your payments every quarter, and it's April 15th, June 15th, September 15th, and January 15th of the following year.
Awesome. Now, how can I better manage my cash flow?
Okay, so if you're not, how can you better manage your cash flow if you are not keeping good records? And I feel like I keep stressing this because so many times I've seen small business owners that do not know on a monthly basis or a weekly basis what their cash flow is, right? So the first thing I would say is get a separate bank account. If you're operating as a sole proprietorship, that's fine, but don't use one bank account for personal and business. So get a separate bank account, run all of your income, have all your income come into that bank account, have all your expenses go out of that bank account. That's one way that you can better track your cash flow.
Now, what is my break-even point in business?
So your break-even point would be so your whatever your sale is minus whatever the cost was to prepare that sale. That's your break-even point. Sorry. That would be your break-even point. So it's to the point where your expenses matches what you receive. That, and then anything over that, you broke even, and that's a profit.
Okay, and how can you help me to grow my business as my accountant and CPA?
So as a CPA, I can help you grow your business by helping you to maintain your books properly, knowing the question you asked, knowing your cash flow, because if you don't know what your cash flow is, then of course you probably spending more than what you're receiving, right? That way there's no good in spending more than what you're receiving, unless if it's an investment. Of course, there are times when you may put something on a credit card because you need a new computer to continue with your business, right? So that's, but it's helping you with having someone that you can plan your taxes with. And a lot of people don't go to their CPAs or their accountants until it's tax time. That is not the way to do it. I work with my clients throughout the year. I work with my clients on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis. We review the books. We see what's coming in, what's going out, where they're spending most of their money, make recommendation as to where they can save money if they spend less here, make recommendations. Sometimes a lot of business even start out being an LLC. Not necessarily mean that that is the best business structure for you, right? It may be more beneficial tax-wise to switch to an S corp. So, but this, I cannot make these recommendations unless I know what your books look like, unless I'm going through your books monthly, quarterly. So I always say, work with your CPAs or your accountants throughout the year. Do not wait until the end of the year before you hit them up.
Okay, and what changes should I make?
As in?
Well, within to growing the business, as to help me to grow the business, what changes could I make to help me to grow my business and to keep better records?
So this is definitely would be like a one-on-one question. I would have to sit with you, see what you're doing now, and then make recommendation as to what the changes would be.
And how should I structure my business?
Again, I cannot just say to someone, hey, you need to structure your business as an LLC, or you need to structure your business as an S corp or a C corp. We have to have conversation with those people, see what their goals are. A lot of people, if your intention is to get investment, to get or like to go public, then I would recommend a C corporation, right? If for the year you think you're gonna make 20,000, I would say, hey, just be an LLC. If I think next year you will be making 300,000, I'll be like, hey, you probably need to be an S corp. This way you can save on self-employment taxes. So it really comes down to each person and what their situation is.
Now, here are a few questions to ask when starting a business. So I'm starting a new business and I'm coming to you as my CPA. How should I structure my business?
Right. So that's kind of like what I just covered,
Mm-hmm.
where we would sit down and we look at what your goals are and
Mm-hmm.
what you think your income is going to be for the year, and
Mm-hmm.
then we'll determine from there.
And what are my financing options as a new business owner, new entrepreneur?
I mean, you can always, one way you can use credit cards. So you can get a business credit card backed by your personal credit, because if your business is new, most likely you will not get a credit card for your business on its own. So
Mm-hmm.
you as a person would have to back that credit card. So you can use credit cards. You can use personal loans. You can look for grants. Sometimes there are grants available. You can look for grants. So those are some of the ways you can finance your business.
And what are my tax obligations? And that is some things that most people don't realize when they're going into business, that they do have obligations when it comes to taxes, the IRS and Uncle Sam. What what are my tax obligations as an entrepreneur and small business owner?
So we all have to pay income taxes, right? It's something that we don't want to pay, but we do have to pay it. Other taxes that you may encounter is gonna based on your business structure. So you will have to pay estimated tax payments. You may have to pay employment taxes if you have employees. You may have to pay
Mm-hmm.
so C corporation, the corporation itself would have to file a tax return. Then each shareholder will have to file a tax return. For an LLC, if it's a partnership, you will file a partnership tax return for the business. Then each partners will get a K1, and then they will have to file their tax return.
Mm-hmm.
So the tax obligation would come down to income tax, self-employment tax, estimated taxes, employment taxes. Those are some of the common ones that you would need to pay.
And the final question would be, do I have employees or contractors? Now, how do I distinguish that as a small business owner when it comes to keeping the books and making sure that I'm right with my accountant and Uncle Sam? Do I have employees or contractors?
Right.
And
So it comes right. That's really a good question, Jennifer. A lot of people said, "Hey, is this an employee or an employer, or an independent contractor? Sorry, or should I get an employee or should I get an independent contractor?" It comes down to, if you're hiring someone, are you gonna
Mhm,
be telling the person exactly when to work, how to
mhm,
work, and are you gonna be providing the equipment for the person to work? If that's yes to all of that, you have an employee. If you're
mhm,
going to say, hey, you need to be working from 9 to 5, you need to be working here, and here's your computer, your phone, you have an employee. If you're
mhm,
hiring someone and you said, hey, I need you to get this task done, say for example, graphic designer, I need my website to be done and I would like it to be done by February 15th. And that's the only instruction you give them. They're using their own computer, they're doing it on their own time. You're not telling them where they have to do it, then that's an independent contractor. If you're going to hire someone like that, you want to make sure you give them a form W-9 to complete. As soon as you hire them, give them that form, because at the end of the year, you will be giving them a 1099. So you want to make sure you get the information. So issue them a W-9. If it's an employee, you're going to issue them a form W-4 and an I-9 for them to complete.
mhm.
So that would help you set up their payroll for an employee.
Okay, and now can you just repeat the two forms again for the contractor and for the employee? What is it?
So for a contractor, you want to give them a form W-9 to complete as soon as you hire them, because at the end of
Mm-hmm,
the year, what if, for example, you hire someone now, February 12th, right? And that was the only job that you had for them, and they're gone. At the end of the year, you don't want to be saying, "Hey, I need the information to issue you a 1099." $99. So you want to make sure you get their information upfront, give them a Form W-9 to complete. For an employee, you would give them a Form W-4 and I-9, Form I-9. And those are the forms that they would complete to have you set up their payroll.
Okay, then, and we have a few more minutes. Do you have any more golden nuggets for us before we end our our Q&A session with Shieke Sharpe? And can you tell us how to get into contact with you and give us the .coms information and any books that you currently are promoting at the moment?
Okay. So I would say definitely, I know it's hard for small business owners to keep their books in order, but please, that is golden. You need to try and keep your books in order. Try to keep business separate from personal. So if it means getting another bank account, if you're set up as an LLC or corporation, then of course you're going to have your business name, your EIN, and you can get an account in the business name. If you have that, go ahead and get a business bank account in the business name. If you don't, try to get a separate bank account that you're using for business only. That is my biggest ask of anyone watching today, just because I've seen it so many times where one bank account is being used for business and personal. You don't want to do that. You don't want to mix it. The other thing, so my contact information, if you want to reach out to me, I do offer free consultation. So I offer free 30 minutes consultation. My email is info@shiekesharpe.com. So that's info@shiekesharpe.com. And my website is shiekesharpe.com.
Okay, and I think that's it. You're also on Facebook and LinkedIn. They can connect with you on Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram.
Yes, so you can connect with me on Facebook, Shieke Sharpe. My Facebook business name is Shieke Sharpe Consulting, and Instagram it's at Miss Startup Queen, and that is because I help so many so many people start up their business, and I really focus on startups. So it's at Miss MS Startup Queen. On LinkedIn, it's my name, Shieke Sharpe.
Okay, Shieke, and do you currently have any ebooks or any books that you are actually promoting at this time?
I do have an ebook, How to Save Thousands in Taxes Every Year. So if you do want to save, it's only $9.99. If you do want to save on taxes and see all the deductions and all these strategies, then yes, you can get that. You can find it in my link in my bio on Instagram, or you can find it on my website at shiekesharpe.com.
Okay, Shieke. Well, thank you so very much for your time. Thank you so
You're
much for
welcome.
taking time to just answer a few questions for us. And you're welcome back again at any time. And we'll touch bases again. Okay. Thank you. Honor and respect, sister.
Thank you,
Thank
Jennifer.
you.
Bye.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.